difficult.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, as we said earlier on, Nick the Pens, it just makes this more of a worthwhile gig.
Absolutely.
Weekend going well so far?
Yeah, not bad.
Love this chat
Not
at
bad.
the start of the thing.
Yeah.
Just do the front pages.
No, I think we should talk about it.
No, the pain's too much. Into the front pages. Let's take a look at what they have for you tomorrow. The Mail on Sunday goes with Sir Shameless is at it again. The Sunday Times says Fayed charged twice over sex abuse charges. The front page of the Sunday Express, ditch toxic aid to end chaos. Sunday Telegraph, terror suspects waltz in on small boats, says Generic, not understanding the waltz. The Sun on Sunday, Strictly bounces back with Zara. And finally, your star, Close Encounters of the Fur Kind. And those are your front pages. We get time for the star. But, Jonathan, what's on the front cover of the Sunday Times?
Well, it's quite a busy page, so let's start with the second story, not the top story, because that's one we're going to be covering later, the Fayed story. So we're going to start with, follow my example and get back to the office, Reeves says amid WFH row, which I found out today means working from home. So Rachel Reeves believes employees benefit from being in the office and leads by example by going into the office 5 days a week. What a goody-goody. 5 days, no one needs to be in for that long. She says she's waded into the debate and she's basically said there's a lot of advantages for people working from the office. I think it's good for morale. I think there's an element of quicker communication. And I really just think she's busting our fun. I've spent most of today working from home and I'm woefully underprepared.
Well, fair enough. Yeah. Wasn't it like 3 or 4 weeks ago there was a front page story, Labour saying, we're going to let people work from home to sort out mental health. So are they not caring about mental health now? Yeah,
well, I think for that, you've got to remember, Steve, with all this, that would include politicians having to stick to their promises.
That's true.
Darn it, I knew there was a flaw in my plan.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so we always know, they've walked it back and no big surprises, really.
Yeah, I mean, is it better to... I think generationally, you two are of the young generation. I get
thank you. We are pushing it, but thanks.
Yeah, just to the edge. But you got more hair, is what I'm saying.
Oh, OK.
Too much, some would say.
A lot, it depends where you're talking about. Do you prefer working from... I mean, even I prefer working from home, but I realise, without it, I barely speak to people anyway. If I didn't go into an office, I'd never be able to network.
I think there's a social element. So I'm a stand-up comedian, so I absolutely prefer working from home because at least when people don't laugh, that's kind of to be expected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fewer hecklers. Yeah.
If I had to work in an office, I'd prefer working at home. As I don't have to work in an office, I think get back to work.
I mean, also on the front page, this is why broadsheet should never even try puns. If you can see the picture of Sir Keir Starmer and the cat, the headline is Mr. Rules and Mr. Mules.
Terrible.
What?
Just terrible.
The picture choice as well is trying to make him look like a Bond villain.
Where's his other hand? Because the cat's eyes have gone different ways.
That cat has seen some things, absolutely.
Poor cat.
He's doing a little vent act, isn't he? Kind of, poor old, wait until it's been dyed and stuffed first.
Yes.
Anything else you want to tackle on the front page?
So, Rayner and rule breach over donor holiday.
Ooh,
What's particularly interesting about this story is Adam.
It is an interesting story.
I'd say so. Steve, what do you make of it?
Did no one read it?
No, I did. Yeah, this is it's very interesting because as this show will go on, there's a lot of big stories that are covering about people basically taking money for free.
Holiday.
Yeah, holiday. I wonder if that was one that she was on doing the raving that everyone was getting upset about.
Jonathan, what's on the front cover of the... No, we've done Jonathan. Adam, what's on the front cover of the Sunday Express?
Yeah, so this is Sunday Express. This is embattled PM engulfed in rows over winter fuel cuts, freebies and infighting is told by allies ditch toxic aid to end chaos. So those of you might remember, Sue Gray is the aide to Keir Starmer, and she's been criticised in the past for being way too controlling, making sure, really enjoying her power trip, making sure everything goes through her before it gets to Keir Starmer. She was actually accused during some of the riots where if they were actually unsure if these messages would even get to Keir Starmer because Sue Gray was being so bossy.
Doctor's receptionist.
Yeah, doctor's receptionist, yes, exactly. Nothing was going through. So, yeah, I think, there's some infighting currently going on at number 10, and understandably there's people sort of saying maybe you should need a ditcher, and maybe, that would be Maybe having some heads roll, as it says in the article, might sort of ease some of this angst and animosity towards the Labour Party.
Well, I'm personally not completely sure Sue Gray exists. I think she might be Keir Starmer's Tyler Durden. I think she might be a creation of his own psyche.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, Sue Gray made me do it. Yeah,
Do you reckon she has great abs then?
Yeah, I've seen Gray's abs.
With Fight Club,
Gutters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tyler Durden's the only one who exists. The Ed Norton character's not real.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
I didn't
What's
see
Ed
that
Norton's
sequel.
character's name?
For
Ed
Bruce
Norton?
Banner?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's only a Tyler Durden in it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so in the whole story.
Yeah. He's just known in the credits as the narrator, I think.
So Keir Starmer doesn't exist.
Front page of the Sunday Telegraph. Jonathan, what you got there?
Yes, this is a fun story. Terror suspects waltz in on small boat, says Generic. So basically, dozens of terror suspects have crossed the channel in small boats. Robert Generic, the former immigration minister, has said. So in this story, he's basically highlighted that there's been a lot of what he calls undesirables, people who have links to criminality or people who have links to terrorism that have been making their way into the UK via small boats. And obviously this is, not a good thing at all, because you don't want people who are linked to extremist terrorism coming into the country on any size boat. I'm
not going to push back on that. I know my job is to give us Ofcom balance, but, there are some really good terrorists. I'm going to have to do that too.
All right, save it for your protests. But, it's not good at all, and he is, an expert, and I guess this is a hole in the defence of the country, and I think we need to do something. Look, I want to slam the table, but it hurts. So I just think it's a real bad situation, Jerry.
It's a bad situation.
Yeah, it's no good.
More and more intense. I can't remember the Elton John lyrics.
Yeah.
Is there anything shocking in this at all, though?
Not really.
Yeah.
Nothing that we haven't already heard. My question is, are they getting free swimming lessons? That's a call
we find
to a future story.
Some comedians do callbacks. That's a call to
That's
the
a call
future.
forward. Call forward.
It'd be great if someone
Avant-garde.
watches half of this at this time and then catches the other bit at the 5 o'clock
Absolutely.
repeat.
You're welcome.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
We got cracking. So, do you want to see something else on the front page?
Well, there, it says PM has 4 weeks to prove he can govern. That's exciting. What happens
Should have done it in the last 4 weeks.
Exactly. 4 weeks too late.
That would have been the better one, yeah. And we can close it out, Adam, with the Star. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, so the Daily Star with obviously the most important story of today. Out of this world exclusive, close encounters of the fur kind. So this is a report saying 1 in 5 would save the pet instead of their mother-in-law after an alleged alien invasion. So yeah, it's no surprise. I think I think most people have terrible relationships with their mother-in-laws, and I think most people have prefer their sort of relationships with cats and dogs, and this just goes to show that things aren't getting better.
I don't think I'd follow my mother-in-law around with a plastic bag.
If maybe you did, you'd be in our good books.
Well, it's not a book that I want to be in, if that's what I've got to do. You know what I mean? But why not lie in this survey? This is if aliens invade. Well, in that case, I'm lying. Whatever the answer is, I'm not telling you the truth.
It's a conditional. It's not a lie.
It's a conditional... No, I'm saying you're free to lie.
Oh, OK.
It's conditional based on something that ain't going to happen. So why not win points with your mother-in-law?
Maybe this is anonymised.
You think the aliens are going to be friendly and not invade?
I don't think there are aliens.
At all?
So, not invading...
Well, the Fermi paradox is, the Fermi paradox that.
Do you know, if
they're
the
here,
aliens...
they're walking among us. I saw this lovely chap called David Icke doing a talk about it. He seemed like a nice guy. Didn't watch anything else he had to say, but apparently the lizards are among us.
But there's never been a bit where the lizards have come up to me and said, choose your mother-in-law or your pet.
That's Mars Attacks, isn't it? Great movie.
Is that why? Yeah.
I think
so. All right, then I've got to ask you the questions: mother-in-law or pet?
I don't have a mother-in-law yet.
You got any
but
pets?
If I did, I'd definitely save her.
You got any pets?
Yes.
You do.
I'd have to choose a potential future mother-in-law. She's lovely.
Yeah. I had a pet, but then some immigrants ate it. That's all we have time for this section.
I'll move us on.
Oh, sorry, big pun.
Front page is sorted. In the next section, there's more bad news for pensioners and 2 stories about Labour getting freebies. They couldn't buy publicity like this.
Nice.
They wouldn't buy it. They get some rich dude to pay for it. Get the details next.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
This Bank Holiday Monday will be celebrating National Dog Day by uncovering how many pet owners would rather spend the bank holiday with their pet over their partner. In fact, new research has uncovered the 5 key personas that make up Generation Pet. That's a new wave of post-pandemic pet owners, with 58% saying they worry about their pet being diagnosed with a serious illness. Well, joining us now to tell us more about how we should be caring for our pampered pooches is Dr. Edwina Gildia.
Some of the interesting facts coming through that is that 80% of us think that pet as part of the family. The new pet owners who have come on board during the pandemic, there's a lot to learn with being a new pet owner. Interesting facts, as you mentioned, a third of pet owners are preferring to spend time with their pet this weekend over their partner. 60% of pet owners, and dog owners specifically calling them out, say that their dog improves their mental health, and 55% noting that improves their physical health by getting out and about.
It's also about showing that love and appreciation for these animals which don't ask anything of us but love.
That was another point that came through this research that we did at Zoetis UK, is that they bring a purpose to life. And I think that's another thing to call out. It's so important for ourselves, for society to have that purpose. But with that comes responsibility. And that's ensuring that we do support their health, and we know how to do that as well.
If you'd rather spend your bank holiday with your dog than your partner, maybe we've got too much of an over-reliance on our pets?
I think it depends on what way you look at it. For some people, it may be a connection. I think it's a positive thing that we have, and we should celebrate it.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Every Saturday, 10 till 12, we'll bring you all of the news that you need to know. We'll also remind you that there is so much to smile about.
It's my favourite time of the week. I get to relax, enjoy some light-hearted stories, and let Ellie teach me about fashion too.
That's Saturday Morning Live, every Saturday, 10 till 12.
Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
This Monday, the king of breakfast TV is back. That's right, Britain's favourite TV host, Eamon Holmes, returns to Britain's hottest breakfast programme. Breakfast every day from 6 a.m. Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
If you want your news to be straight talking, this is a nightmare for the Conservatives again. Down to earth. It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it? And most importantly, honest. Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them. They catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners with me, Stephen Allen, him, Jonathan Cogan, and other him, Adam Kumas. Jonathan, the Sunday Telegraph. It seems like Diane Abbott is missing being suspended from the Labour Party.
Oh, you think she's going for round two?
Yeah.
Could be. OK, so Starmer in the pocket of millionaires, says Diane Abbott. So Miss Abbott, the veteran left-winger and famed heartthrob, criticised the Prime Minister after a row over him accepting thousands of pounds for clothes from Lord Ali, a Labour peer, and his biggest personal donor. So this follows on Friday, where Keir promised that he would stop taking donations for clothes now that he's in office. And Andrew Rayner, his deputy, basically made the same pledge. So Labour have been like, no more, we're not going to take any more. We're not going to give any back. We're going to hold on to this. This is ours. You know, we earn this, but we're not going to take any more. I never thought I'd say this, but Diane Abbott is one smart cookie. I agree. I think he is in the pockets from the millionaires, and I'm pleased to see that we're seeing the same level of greed and sleaze from Labour as we do from the Tories.
Here.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you're going to be in a pocket, it's a billionaire's pocket you want to be in, isn't it?
100%.
They're good.
You don't want to be in a homeless guy's pocket.
Gold lined and everything.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting about Diane Abbott. I feel like she wouldn't be so critical if she was part of the cabinet. You know.
She's not in the cabinet?
Yeah, she's in the pantry instead. But it's just one of those things. I think it's very interesting. I think like she would probably be towing more the party line if she was selected. But obviously,
that's just collective responsibility thing, isn't it? Like you get away with. You've got an excuse for not standing up and disagreeing because you're not allowed to. You know.
Yeah, 100%,
you have to just all play the same game.
You'll get paid.
Yeah. I mean, they keep saying that they weren't going to be bad for business. And everyone keeps worrying that Labour were going to be bad for business. Turns out they're good for business.
Very good.
If Corbyn wants to get some clothes donations, I'm OK with that. I think it could help.
He gets all of his clothes from Oxfam, doesn't he?
Does he?
Or he donates all of his clothes to Oxfam. One of the
and then he gets them again.
At least they've been washed.
All clothes in Oxfam once belonged.
That's a great way to do your washing. Donate your clothes, get them washed.
Go back in a couple of days later, buy them back from the old lady there.
The system works.
Adam, the Observer, our politicians have been given £0.7 million worth of stuff. But I've got the Timo app, so I shop like a billionaire, so I win that one.
Yeah, and your shoes say otherwise. Steve, that's really slightly. I could compliment them earlier. Maybe we'll get them up to the end. Yeah, so this is an ongoing trend throughout tonight. Revealed MPs accepted more than 700,000 in free gifts and hospitality last year. So, yeah, this is a big story. So, basically, the Labour Party, or the Labour leader, Keir Starmer, received more than £65,000 in gifts alone last year, including new clothes, accommodations funded by millionaire Labour peer Wahid Ali. They've also said, in total, MPs have found lots of gifts, including Taylor Swift tickets and helicopter rides. It just sounds like a fun time.
Yeah.
Politicians are the original influencers, aren't they?
They really are.
Just doing things for money. Just such a silly thing. I liked how the Tory party was trying to criticise Labour for receiving gifts, and then it turned out they themselves have received £359,000 of free gifts.
They're both guilty.
Yeah, both guilty.
And
we get hooked.
apparently the gambling industry have spent more than £20,000 on gifts for MPs over the last year. What incentives could they have to sweeten the MPs? I don't know.
No strings, absolute. It's a charitable thing.
I think so.
Yeah.
Out of the goodness of their hearts. What's the solution here? Just have all MPs have to show their... Because I wouldn't read it because I don't care.
Yeah, although, I mean, the expenses thing showed that they were on a different take a while ago, and then that kind of got fixed, and now it's moved from expenses to free gifts.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe you're
MPs
right.
need to dip their hand in, that's all they want. They just want a bit of free money.
To get a little kickback. I don't know.
Well, then the solution you would say would be to pay them more, but...
No, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
Scrap that.
Oh, God, it's all just... What do we need? Anarcho-capitalism.
All right, well, there you go. That'll sort that out. Jonathan, to the Sunday Express, we always hear about the problem of an ageing population. But given credit where it's due, Labour are fixing that with all the cuts to pensioners' benefits, and they might do another.
Nice. Yeah, Labour are going to finish the job that COVID couldn't. So, yeah.
Oh, God.
Rachel Reeves unleashing war on pensioners as next blow in the pipeline. So the Chancellor is believed to be bringing in a shake-up of pension tax reliefs in the budget to help the government plug this disputed £2 billion black hole in the coming...
22 billion.
Yes, it is. It turns
It's a big discrepancy error. Are you doing Diane Abbott maths?
Well, yeah, I mean, there was a black hole in my reading of this. So, good news, it's been filled. So, yeah, when someone turns 55, they can normally take 25% of their pensions without having to pay tax up to £268,000 limit. But now the Labour government are being urged to cut that cap on tax-free cash for those with the largest pension pot. So they hate your rich grandparents. That's it. That's what it is. It's the politics of envy. They're going to take it all away. Adam was saying backstage that taxation is theft. I didn't really know what that meant, so I looked it up. I think I agree. I've been radicalised.
Yeah, you wouldn't. No, you need to worry. You don't get paid enough to get taxed, Jonathan. But yes, some of us are bowling.
You're bawling.
Bowling.
You're bawling out of control.
No, I'm not. Legally, I'm not. I'm actually under the tax threshold.
Legally, you're under 18, so you don't even have to...
I'm 32.
This tax thing, it's not like it was around forever. So they would be revoking something that was not that long ago. It was a David Cameron thing.
And, you know, pensions aren't around forever either. And, you know,
no, but I mean, it's not as though it's been a right for ages. You just couldn't take any money out of your pension until you retire.
Yeah.
And at the time, the newspapers were saying, oh, they shouldn't do this. It'll be, they called it the Lamborghini, something or other, like 50-year-old, 55-year-olds would all buy a Lamborghini. Have you noticed... like a plethora of Lambos everywhere when you know...
With the agitate stuff, yeah.
Although when I do see Lambos being driven, it is always by 55-year-olds and older.
Yes.
It's a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
So it's not saying every 55-year-old is a Lambo owner, but it says every Lambo owner is a 55-year-old.
Yeah.
Well, these guys need to have their crisis. They need their money for blackjack and hookers. It's unfair.
The show comes on at 5 a.m, Jonathan.
Well, OK, fine. Roulette and hookers, whatever. It doesn't matter. But, yeah, just... Look, Uncle Sam, get your hand out my pocket. That's my uncle. There's a
backstory there. But, I mean, look, you get the money out of the savings. Yeah. It's good for the economy, I guess, if they're spending it. But 3 days ago, there was a story that no one's saving enough for their pension.
Yeah.
Well, this is people taking money out of pension. Surely you want them keeping the money in the pot and then claiming it when they get to pensionable age.
That's a very fair point. But you're not meant to remember previous news stories. You're meant to get angry at this one.
24-hour news cycles. You've got to get...
I should just get angry about whatever's flashed in front of my face.
Now you're getting it.
I can't believe they're doing it.
Now you're getting it.
Oh, they're eating our cats.
Adam, to the Mail on Sunday, more information to stop middle-class people reusing the Harrods bag with pride.
Yes, this is a very dark story. So, yes, this is from the Mail on Sunday. The stark naked rendezvous in a Mayfair Turkish bath that saw the BBC's debonair ex-royal expert strike a secret deal to protect his rapist boss, Mohamed Al-Fayed. Guy Adams investigates. So, yes, this is a very, maybe not surprising story, but it's now come out in the wash. I think people have always had concerns about Mohamed Al-Fayed. This was raised probably first in 2008, and actually in the late 90s, I think some of this was coming out. But as we all know, Mohamed Al-Fayed was a horrible man, disgusting man who was a sexual deviant, a predator, and as it's come out in the wash, assaulted and raped a lot of his staff members. And so this is just another, as if you didn't need another excuse to despise Harrods. Now you've got all the excuses you need.
What I think is surprising is because there's been all these, as you say, allegations historically, and it's only really now coming to light. So why did it take so long for an injustice like this to come in, to light? I mean, we've seen this a lot with predators and historical offenders, and it just takes years and years and years.
Yeah.
But
although I suppose when someone dies, then legally it changes the game, doesn't it? It means you can make claims without fear that
is he dead?
Yes, yes. Thank God.
Fair enough.
Well researched that, Jonathan. I'm glad you're on top of that story.
It's such a long story, but they did call him a leathery billionaire, which I guess makes more sense now.
Phrase, yeah. Because you probably wouldn't get away with.
No, definitely not. Pre-what? Before pre-rape, nobody would have been. But now it's like, yeah, he was leathery.
Yeah, real leathery.
That's not the biggest issue. Jonathan, the Eye, it's hard to keep Donald Trump safe on a golf course. Also not the first right-wing leader to end up in a bunker.
That's true, but that one killed himself. Allegedly. OK, so I guarded Trump for the Secret Service. It's impossible to keep him 100% safe, clearly. So a former agent who has protected Donald Trump on the same golf course where a gunman tried to shoot him reveals why the job is so challenging. And this is for reasons you might expect. So on a golf course, for example, it's one of the most problematic areas to parole because it's a vast area of open land, typically surrounded by many trees, all of which are good hideout spots for potential gunmen. And whereas urban areas, there's you can control access more. But what I find so surprising about this is how quickly we've almost forgotten about the first assassination attempt. I thought that was going to be the biggest news for the rest of the year. And, with those I guess, iconic photos. And then it moved on. And then another one happened, or tried to happen. And no one was like, oh, yeah, we've done that bit.
Yeah.
It's like Clueless 2. No one wanted to watch that. It's done.
It's exactly the same as Clueless 2. I'm glad that's the metaphor
I feel like such a bonehead.
Yeah. But it's because it doesn't have the photo, and media loves a photo. Yeah. There's not that moment. But also, it's lesser than the first. And it's news needs to build, doesn't it?
We all know, the rule with comedy is you need to up the stakes every time.
So you reckon they should have planned that last one better?
Well, I think there'll be a third one.
You think there will? Like
I hope there isn't. I hope there isn't, but I think there might be.
You wish him well?
Of course, I wish everyone well.
Fair enough.
I know I'm going to get some flack for being the Brit who's having a go at guns.
No one's watching.
That's a big thing as well. Do you know what? In a nation where knives are your problem, golf courses are probably safer.
Yes.
Because
they don't let people with knives in.
It's a nation that sells weaponry that can shoot people at miles away and then has space that's miles long.
Although within 500 yards, could you throw knives if you're in the carnival?
If you're very well trained, you might be able to.
Still, I think if you were given a choice, and you'd pick neither, but if you had to pick one and you're golfing, which do you think you're safer from? The person with a semi-automatic rifle up in a tree, or someone who's just, spent some time on a hen night learning how to throw an axe?
I'd be more worried about my dad's driving shot. It's so bad, it might kill me. I don't know. I try and do a golf joke. I've never done it. Yeah. But no, obviously the guns give a much more deadly range. And I mean, absolutely. And it's difficult. And I think, as we've seen with some of these instances, the Secret Service do have a real difficulty safeguarding the area. And, it's just, what can you do? What can you do?
Golf, you could do a joke about holes. That could be the key word.
Be full of holes.
We'll think about that later.
He should fire his...
That's rough.
Yeah.
Well, we've hit the halfway point. Coming up, rappers being bad guys, grammar schools being elitist, and Brexit is back in the news. Join us for that retro fun next.
Hello there, good evening. Some of us certainly ended astronomical summer with a bang. We've seen a few thunderstorms around across southern areas today, and there's the continuing chance that we see a few of those pushing across central into parts of Wales. We might clip into the far south of Northern Ireland as we head throughout the evening. We've then got a second pulse of thundery rain pushing its way into the far south of England as we head towards dawn on Sunday morning. Quite muggy and humid in amongst all of this as well. Temperatures not dropping too far at all, but it will be chillier for the northwest of Scotland underneath the clearer skies here. Might see a touch of frost in some very sheltered areas. And for Scotland, Sunday is certainly one of a east-west split. The best of the sunshine will be across those western areas. Quite a nice fine start for Lewis and Harris, the Highlands, Argyll and Bute as well, but the clouds still lingering along those eastern coastal areas, maybe with some drizzle around at times. It will try and burn back a bit as we head throughout the day. Northern Ireland seeing some sunshine during the afternoon as well, but for much of Wales, central southern areas of England, this band of rain will be steadily pushing its way northwards with some very heavy pulses possible, and there is a rain warning in force throughout the day, so do take care if you are travelling or out and about. Some disruption is certainly possible. Again, it is going to be quite warm and humid even amongst all this rain, so temperatures where you do start to see some of those sunny spells emerging into the afternoon could still see highs around 20 or 21 degrees Celsius. 18 to 20 degrees Celsius is certainly also possible for the likes of Oban and Fort William pulses in western Scotland. This area of low pressure that's bringing that rain on Sunday is going to become quite slow moving on Monday as well, and so there's potential for further heavy rain around at times. There's still some uncertainty just in regards to the exact placement of this rain, so it's worth keeping up to date with the forecast, but another rain warning is in force throughout much of Monday. Again, some disruptions, surface water issues and spray on roads is possible. Generally dry further towards the north, but you'll start to see some of that rain pushing into the far north of Scotland, and that heralds in a slight change as we head over the next few days, things turning cooler with a northerly wind setting in. Bye-bye.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent?
I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
The Britain I grew up in was the most peaceful, gentle society that has ever existed. That has been destroyed.
Opinion polls show immigration is the #1 concern to the British public.
Are you proud to be British?
Yeah, I'm ever so proud.
My name is Stephen Edgington, and in this documentary, I want to find out how Britain became a nation of immigrants. Immigration, the truth. Available at gbnews.com.
Welcome back to Headliners. Adam, the Independent. P. Diddy used to be his name, now just a rather worrying question.
Yes, so this is from The Independent. Sean Diddy Combs, latest rapper, put on suicide watch as he awaits trial behind bars. So yeah, this is obviously the news that Sean P. Diddy was actually a really horrible person, and he's finally paying the price. What's really interesting about the story is that his lawyers tried to get him on a $50 million bail, but actually the judge they just said no, you can't. You're actually too much of a risk to society. We're going to put you in jail. So yeah, this is just a horrible story, and I think it's definitely shook, I think, American culture, definitely American rap culture to its core. I
think just general pop culture as well, because he was so instrumental in so many careers of pop stars like Bieber, and there's so many. So I think there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out that's going to be pretty grim. It almost feels like the Jeffrey Epstein of music, really.
Yeah, well, he's been talking about speaking of Jeffrey Epstein. He's been placed on suicide watch. So if something happens to him, probably deserved it. But it's.
It says that according to People magazine, Diddy's been placed on suicide watch as a preventative measure. It always is, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the only way to do it.
It's never pro-suicide watch, is it?
Yeah. It's never retrospectively.
You never give him a bunch of tools like, oh, we're watching him now, see if he does it.
Really feels like the most useless sentence that's ever been written by a journalist.
My only regret is that I never got to go to one of his freak parties. Not to do anything illicit, but just, thousands of bottles of baby oil hidden in his house. Think of the slip and slide he could have done.
Right.
Yeah.
Why that much? That feels...
think of the savings, Steve.
That's the problem. But I'm also thinking about, what if there's a house fire?
That's true. Doesn't the price of oil go up or something if you store it?
Yeah.
Maybe
that's baby oil. Slide out.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, look...
I'm glad we took that story seriously. You started off thinking we'll be really respectful about this, and then, of course...
It's just not a well society, Steve.
That's true.
I blame the parents.
Jonathan, the Sunday Telegraph, Nick Clegg, says the UK is doing well in tech. Remember that the next time you're swearing at a self-scan till.
I actually prefer swearing at the cashier. Brexit Britain winning tech race with EU, admits Clegg. So Sir Nick Clegg, which is short for Nicholas Cleggulus, has admitted that Brexit Britain is beating the European Union in the race to develop new technology. So good news, we're doing it. It was all worth it. So the former deputy PM, who was an arch Remainer, has said that the EU risks falling behind on new tech because of its incoherent red tape. So senior Eurosceptics have claimed that his remarks showed that even Europhiles are being forced to recognise the advantage of leaving the trading bloc. So I think, generally speaking, especially in really fast-moving areas like tech, over-legislation and regulation can really slow development, especially when you're competing with foreign nations. Like this story is mostly about AI and Meta. We want to be the first, or we want the West to be the first to develop AGI, otherwise we're all screwed. And but also, because it is AI, if we are making, 4,000 IQ demigods, maybe a little bit of
it's important to have
regulation.
A British accent.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like the argument to not have restrictions and requirements to, safety measures on AI is because, well, China will do it quicker.
Yeah.
So we've got to do it as haphazardly as China.
Sort of. It's like, you've got to be, like, basically the first one to do it. You've seen Watchmen, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, the Superman exists, he's American. It's that. You need the AGI first, otherwise...
I was put off by the scenes where he don't have trousers on.
Oh, the massive schlong?
Yeah.
I like the blue schlong.
I was indifferent.
You didn't?
You're indifferent to it.
It's okay.
It just seems cold.
It's bigger. Who will watch the Watchmen schlong? So, so I think, look, what do we think? Too much regulation crushes innovation and businesses, but also when it's an important thing, you need it. You need a bit. You need a balance. I like to live dangerously.
He's chalking it up as a win, but I think we have to remember that he does work for Facebook. Stefan, forgiving you about the tuition fees, Nick Clegg.
Don't worry, though, in the future, no one will need any education.
That's true.
Because the AI is about to create. But then you're moaning about, red tape being tricky. Just get your AI to fill it in.
It does that.
ChatGPT can do like a law degree.
Yeah, it can do the LSAT. It can do everything.
Yeah.
It's coming for all of you. You guys don't realise it.
All of you, as if it's not coming for you. Somehow you're the special one.
Comedy is the last bastion of truth.
I am irreplaceable, my mum said.
Yeah. Adam, The Observer, what does it take to get into a grammar school? If you're Jonathan, the removal of that restraining order, but what else?
So this is from The Observer. Grammar schools in England must publish details on entry tests, a tribunal rules. So, this is interesting, and I think... grammar schools in England have been ordered to publish details about their admissions tests, which campaigners say will expose them to greater scrutiny and potential legal challenges. So... I don't know if you guys did. Steve, you struck me as if you did go to a grammar school.
People get this weird vibe from me. No, I went to the worst comprehensive in the area.
Really?
Yeah. I nearly got held
you only
back.
went there so you'd be the smartest.
No, I honestly was the second dumbest up until.
Really? I do not believe that unless you went to a very smart school.
Oh.
No, my background is I still can't really spell or add up or anything. But all of a sudden, when they started testing other stuff, I made it look like I could, But I know.
So this is interesting because I think it's grammar schools they've always been held in high esteem, haven't they? Really, because it's like it's for the good kids, it's for the smart kids, and I think it does put a lot of children who are 11 years old sort of under a lot of pressure. It's very intense.
It was very stressful.
Did you take one of the tests?
Yeah, well, our exam was for my school. Basically, they got all the applicants and they just put one biscuit in the middle. Then we all gathered round.
I see where this is going.
Then we did a test on Narnia.
Oh, okay. Different thing. I think of Eton. Sorry.
The Eton mess.
I think this is good. I think that they're going to. I think this is good. I think this is only a positive step if they're going to have greater scrutiny. Because also, we don't know. One of the things I liked about this article, they sort of said that some of the marking was shrouded in secrecy, as if it was some big deal and
ancient runes.
Yeah, ancient runes. But then, on a serious note, it could be hiding some sort of prejudice. And I think if it's all out in the open, maybe it's a bit more fair, a bit more meritocratic.
Yeah. I mean, if it is out in the open, the Daily Mail once a year will run a story where they go, could you pass the 11 plus? And they'll do like they do with GCSEs.
Yeah, which a lot of their readers couldn't.
It's sassy, I like it.
Yeah, I quite enjoy that. Every so often, a couple of questions from a GCSE, have a little read through them. absolutely nail it, and move on with my life.
Yeah.
It feels
Feel
like
good, yeah.
Just feels like a little win.
Yeah.
Jonathan, to the Sunday Telegraph, and travel bloggers are being nice about China. Well, no one likes life in prison.
Tell that to Diddy. OK, so British travel bloggers sugarcoating China's Uyghur problem to the delight of Beijing. So in the heart of Xinjiang, the Chinese region, where more than 1 million Uyghurs are believed to be detained in re-education camps, where journalists, if they go, they're harassed and heavily monitored. But YouTubers and travel bloggers and your average person is going there, and they're being allowed in because they seem to be making kind of positive content, which the Chinese government are very happy about because it's great PR. Now, I've read this article. What's interesting is some of these bloggers are saying we're just showing what we see. We're not lying. This is what we're saying. We're putting out there. This is obviously a Western smear campaign that's happening to create this story, which I think's mad. But
someone's not getting invited to China.
No, I was just thinking that, never going. But
I've always thought you needed to be re-educated.
I need to be educated for the first time. So I mean, I don't know. I think these people are just most likely not seeing the big picture, or they're being very selective because they know they're going to get in trouble if they show what's actually happening, which seems to be a complete violation of human rights.
Yeah.
Well, I love the idea, Steve, of them saying, we're only reporting what we see, and they're probably going to all like this. We're only reporting what we see. I do think what's really interesting is there are some YouTubers, in fairness, who did actually maybe call up some of the problems with China, and they were showing it, and they found, most importantly, this affected views, i.e. their bank balance, their bottom line. So basically, this is organically happening, because if you look in the article, it says China isn't directly endorsing it, it just seems to be overwhelmingly positive. And what they found out is more positive videos gets more views, means they get more money. So that's always.
So you think it's basically worshipping the algorithm?
Worshipping the algorithm, and also they want to get invited back to China and get, maybe get some free stuff. They want to get, the Keir Starmer treatment.
Yeah. But I would have thought that an expose would get the most views. Like, look how messed up this is.
But you've got to do an expose of any real depth. You've got to be, smart, and a lot of YouTubers.
Yeah, they're just not.
The thing, you look at the story, you go like, oh no, you can't trust what randos on YouTube.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I probably didn't expect that they were going to go and do that.
But that's how I learned the Earth is flat.
Exactly, that's the problem. It's algorithm-based, isn't it? Right. That's part of it as well. It's just because so many viewers are based in China. If you want to,
are they allowed YouTube? I thought YouTube was blocked.
Is it one of them that's blocked?
I don't know. I get confused.
I think it is, but maybe you can access it through a VPN or something.
Okay.
Well, if it's VPN, it can't be making that much of a difference.
I think it's more just outside like other people viewing China in a positive way.
Maybe I should do a quick video on the way home reviewing how great China is.
Yeah.
But so the journalists should be the ones going in and actually doing it.
Yes, but they're the ones getting harassed and censored. So.
And also their YouTube channels are pathetic.
Journalists.
Why don't they pretend to be some annoying travel vlogger?
Like a 10-year psyop, and then halfway through, we're actually journalists the whole time.
But they're the worst people. I was on holiday.
Journalists or YouTubers?
Well, Instagram people.
They're basically the same people these days.
They're the worst people. Instagram. Me and the missus were on holiday, and we saw someone in I can't even remember where it was now, but she was just in the way, having her friend take lots of pictures of her, like leaning in front of the view, like, what's wrong with the world?
Yeah.
Did you push her off?
No, I was going to wait to go to China and just say that she tweeted something bad about the Uyghurs or something. Adam, the Mail on Sunday, as a straight white cis male, this story is worrying. I'm not even right-handed. I've got no hopes.
So this is from the Daily Mail. Shocking anti-white bias of taxpayer-funded help service which fired brave staffer who stood up to non-binary bully. And I'll read the next sentence because it's quite funny. Let's see if we can play woke bingo. We'll get a ding every time one of the woke words is done. A taxpayer-funded office set up to help vulnerable Canadians, bing, ding, ding, has an anti-white, ding, 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 biased and hired non-binary, ding, ding, lawyer who helped bully out his non-staffers. So, this is obviously, we've seen this before, where sometimes some industries or institutions set up to help every person. Everybody equally somebody comes in this case, this non-binary lawyer, and then suddenly, slowly but surely, the place becomes ideologically captured, which maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't, but it always ends up that it does matter because it actually ends up affecting and harming people who have legitimate concerns. In this article, they were promoting the idea that people should be treated differently based on their identities, which actually goes against everything that... even Martin Luther King stood for. So.
Oh, you're so old school thinking Martin Luther King's the
relevant. Yeah, that's true.
Quoting Martin Luther King's now like a right-wing talking point. It's
Oh, is he? Oh.
Yeah, well, yeah. This basically seems like another bureaucracy set up with good intentions now running amok, and the long march through the institutions. I heard Andrew Doyle said that once, and now I say it maybe every couple of weeks.
Yeah, I hope no one knows what he means by it, but it sounds, he's clever. So you go, oh yeah, definitely.
He's a big brain.
He's one of them, isn't he? Yeah. I mean, it's also you're right, Canada.
Yeah, they're gone. That country's lost.
Gone.
They are one of the
bless
worst.
them.
One of the worst.
They're the canary in the coal mine.
I can't go back after I went to the trucker protest.
And what did you do at the trucker protest?
I drove a truck and I chanted, and I got Trudeau in a rear naked choke and I choked him out.
Oh.
Because I'm sticking it to Canada.
He was wearing blackface at the time, wasn't he?
Trudeau or me?
Both.
Oh, yeah.
In the final section, the 90s are back. Swimming is good for you, and hug a fatty if you can get your arms around him. Get the details next.
Nana Queer, weekends from 3 p.m.
I'm now joined by a truly inspirational man. He's an endurance runner, Ben Smith. 401 marathons in just 401 days for mental health and well-being. He was spurned on after being bullied as a child, was able to raise a whopping £250,000. I'm pleased to say that he joins me now. Right, so this was a while ago, wasn't it?
Yes.
How long ago was it?
Well, we're coming up to, I think, next year, roughly about 10 years since we started it. In 2026 will be 10 years since we finished.
So when did you run the marathons?
So it was between 2015 and 2016, over the course of 401 days, all around the UK.
What kind of madness was that?
It was an adventure, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, on day one when we started in Bristol, never ever thought that the project would ever become what it became. But over the course of the 401 days, we ran with 13,500 people within 8 miles of everywhere on the British mainland, from Land's End to John O'Groats. So,
and that was the journey from Land's End to John O'Groats?
Yeah. We covered so many different communities around the UK because I suppose the reason why I was doing it was to raise so much money for 2 anti-bullying charities that we wanted to include people in that. And I got to run in some amazing places.
I bet you did. What would you say is a beautiful place? I mean, the whole country, I love this country, but there are some outstanding, beautiful areas around. What would you say?
Oh, definitely.
Where's the best place that you run?
Well, I think I've got a few, but I think I would say probably the Highlands of Scotland.
I knew you would say somewhere like
that. Yeah, just the kind of vastness of it, the dramaticness of it. I remember running up and down one of the paths in the Highlands near Glencoe and coming face to face with a wild stag. So it was quite scary.
What did it do?
It did nothing. It did absolutely nothing. It was quite used to people because of the path.
What are you doing here? This is my house.
GBNews, the People's Channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
This Monday, the king of breakfast TV is back. That's right, Britain's favourite TV host, Eamon Holmes, returns to Britain's hottest breakfast programme. Breakfast every day from 6 a.m. Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. Jonathan, the Sunday Times. We should be kind to the obese. Get them some flowers. Or chocolates. It's chocolate. They want chocolates.
They want chocolates, yes. They're taking the Augustus Gloop approach here. So the council pushing a compassionate approach to obesity. So a Labour classic council in one of the country's most obese areas has adopted a compassionate approach to weight loss that rejects specific exercise and nutrition goals. You know, the one thing that can actually help with weight loss. So Doncaster Council says it respects the inherent diversity of body shapes and sizes, and it wants to take away blame on overweight individuals and dismiss the premise that being a certain weight equates to being unhealthy. So taking a very scientific approach here. And they're adopting an anti-stigma, non-judgmental approach, even though 72% of adults in Doncaster are overweight and 90% of the ones I've slept with. And so it's also...
In Doncaster?
In Doncaster, yeah. I'm a legend in Donny. I mean, this is actually much kinder than their last approach, which was get the fattest kid they could find and whip him with a wet towel. So I think it's, you know, it's a step in the right direction.
Is it, Adam?
I genuinely think it is. And this is, I do genuinely think, and here's my reasoning for this. I feel like we've done the scientific approach. We've done the eat less, move more. We've done all these other approaches, and people are still struggling with their weight. So I think at this point, we're just using the rule of odds. Let's try something different. Maybe let's try being compassionate. Let's not criticise them, and then maybe that will help. And then if in 10 years it still hasn't worked, then we realise this is also a failure. But the current status quo isn't working. Yeah. Let's try something else.
Well, I agree that shaming people for being fat definitely doesn't work.
No.
But the idea of, like, compassion needs to go with no advice at all. Like, we'll give you compassion and we'll just keep feeding you, because that's what you need.
It's a happy medium.
The thing is, though...
They're not a medium.
They're a happy meal.
I do think, though, I do feel like anyone who struggled with weight, and I've struggled with weight in the past...
I was going to say.
Thank you. But I do think it's... People who are overweight, they are aware of their weight. They're always aware. No one's like, if you call someone fat, they're not going, oh, really? They're like, I know, I'm trying to forget about it. I think what needs to happen with people who are overweight, they need something to click in their head and they kind of go, right, I'm going to finally make a change, and then use the tools and resources available, which I think in this defence of this council, they have said they're going to try and create an environment that can help foster that. So I think maybe this is me being wishy-washy, maybe this is me being too liberal, but I do think let's try compassion and let's see if this works.
I say get some Ozempic and go for a run, you chonker.
Just like in blow darts as well. Even not that they're choosing to take it, just and all of a sudden everyone up there gets thin.
Yeah.
Adam, the eye. Some African migrants have a fear of the sea because of the terrifying journeys they've made. But in the UK, we had TV ads with Rolf Harris promoting swimming. So we've all suffered.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is from the iNews. How swimming lessons are helping African migrants overcome trauma. So this is a story about migrants from Africa who've actually sort of channeled over and landed in Spain and Madrid and places like that. And it's been quite... traumatic for them, because obviously seriousness, when you are coming over illegally on a boat, it can be quite treacherous. A lot of...
How do you know?
Well, from the studies.
Something you want to share, Adam?
Yeah, I came on a boat this morning, and you're going away on one.
Yeah.
But what's kind of interesting is they are, obviously, a lot of them sort of had loved ones who've died and everything else, and yes, there's an argument of you shouldn't really be coming over in the boats. However, if some of them are children, they are traumatised. If they're getting free swimming lessons from this charity, maybe that's a good thing. However, I don't think we should be encouraging people making the journey, because there is a legal process. There's a way to come over here to any country safely through the right processes, and that avoids the need to do free swimming lessons.
No one's going to make the journey because of the free swimming lesson at the other end.
I don't know.
It's not an incentive.
I mean, it depends how comprehensive they are.
Really, really good lessons. I don't know. I mean, the whole thing is just, it's tragic, and then it's just like, oh, don't worry, we'll teach you how to swim, though. It's, it's not great.
Jonathan, the Metro, the 90s are popular again, but it was a very different time. Oasis were gigging, we had a new Labour government, and the BBC News featured Hugh Edwards. Wait a minute, no, I see it now.
And things could only get better. Why are we so obsessed with the 90s and 2000s right now? So basically, there seems to be a cultural trend for 90s culture and 2000s culture coming back up, and it was a great time. Pre 9/11, it was a simpler time. I think it was just, we had ladettes, we had men getting drunk, and we had Nuts magazine that I used to steal from the PE teacher's lounge. Yeah, and I think part of it is we're living in uncertain times now, and people have a hankering for those simpler days. I actually saw in one story that Tamagotchis were being brought back. I don't know if you saw that. They've opened the first Tamagotchi shop, and I thought, nice try, Mossad. Nice try.
Yeah, that's how they get. Adam, do you remember the 90s fondly, and are you enjoying reliving it now?
Yeah, I mean, well, I sort of came... I'm a 90s kid, I was born in 92. I think, like, the reason why we're having a lot of this nostalgia, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm in a lot of pain. So it's like the cost of living crisis. I think a lot of people are in pain, a lot of people are feeling the hurt, and they are going back to being transported back to their childhood, where times were simpler, at least seemingly, but it's probably because they were children, they didn't have to worry about it.
That's probably it. Just we were kids, so we liked it. It was look, we were mad for it. We're having a mad one. We were at the VMAs doing Class A's. It was pre-AIDS. It was pre-COVID.
At the time.
All of these things,
pre-World
you were
War
born
II.
in the 90s, you think, like, oh, we were mad for it. You weren't that mad for it. Trust me, if you went to university in the 90s.
I had a Capri Sun and I went mental.
It was good times. Well, the show is nearly over. Let's take another quick look at Sunday's front pages. The Mail on Sunday goes with Sir Shameless is at it again. Sunday Times, fired, charged twice over sex abuse charges. The Sunday Express, ditch toxic aid to end chaos. Sunday Telegraph, terror suspects waltz in on small boat, says Generic. And The Sun on Sunday, Strictly bounces back with Zara. Oh, good. And finally, yes, Daily Star Sunday, Close Encounters of the Fur Kind. And those are your front pages. That's all we have time for. Thank you, my guests, Jonathan and Adam. We are back tomorrow at 11 p.m. with Simon Evans, Kerry Marks and Paul Cox will be getting together to do it. If you're watching at 5, stay tuned. Breakfast is on the way next. Till the next one, have a good one.
That warm feeling inside from Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Some of us certainly ended astronomical summer with a bang. We've seen a few thunderstorms around across southern areas today, and there's the continuing chance that we see a few of those pushing across central into parts of Wales. We might clip into the far south of Northern Ireland as we head throughout the evening. We've then got a second pulse of thundery rain pushing its way into the far south of England as we head towards dawn on Sunday morning. Quite muggy and humid in amongst all of this as well. Temperatures not dropping too far at all, but it will be chillier for the northwest of Scotland underneath the clearer skies here. Might see a touch of frost in some very sheltered areas. And for Scotland, Sunday is certainly one of a east-west split. The best of the sunshine will be across those western areas. Quite a nice fine start for Lewis and Harris, the Highlands, Argyll and Bute as well, but the clouds still lingering along those eastern coastal areas, maybe with some drizzle around at times. It will try and burn back a bit as we head throughout the day. Northern Ireland seeing some sunshine during the afternoon as well, but for much of Wales, central southern areas of England, this band of rain will be steadily pushing its way northwards with some very heavy pulses possible, and there is a rain warning in force throughout the day, so do take care if you are travelling or out and about. Some disruption is certainly possible. Again, it is going to be quite warm and humid even amongst all this rain, so temperatures where you do start to see some of those sunny spells emerging into the afternoon could still see highs around 20 or 21 degrees Celsius. 18 to 20 degrees Celsius is certainly also possible for the likes of Oban and Fort William pulses in western Scotland. This area of low pressure that's bringing that rain on Sunday is going to become quite slow moving on Monday as well, and so there's potential for further heavy rain around at times. There's still some uncertainty just in regards to the exact placement of this rain, so it's worth keeping up to date with the forecast, but another rain warning is in force throughout much of Monday. Again, some disruptions, surface water issues and spray on roads is possible. Generally dry further towards the north, but you'll start to see some of that rain pushing into the far north of Scotland, and that heralds in a slight change as we head over the next few days, things turning cooler with a northerly wind setting in. Bye-bye.
A brighter outlook with Box Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
You could be the next Great British Giveaway winner with a whopping £36,000 in tax-free cash in your bank account. Imagine getting the winning phone call for that.
£30,000 cash? Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
Yes, you see, that is absolutely fantastic.
Look at the moon. Oh my God, this is amazing.
For another chance to win £36,000 in tax-free cash, text CASH to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. You can enter online at gbnews.com/win. Entries cost £2, or post your name and number to GB08, PO Box 8690, Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 5 p.m. on the 25th of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, and as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
The Britain I grew up was the most peaceful, gentle society that has ever existed. That has been destroyed.
Opinion polls show immigration is the #1 concern to the British public.
Are you proud to be British?
Yeah, I'm ever so proud.
My name is Stephen Edgington, And in this documentary, I want to find out how Britain became a nation of immigrants. Immigration, the truth, available at gbnews.com.
Welcome to State of the Nation, daily plunge into the stories shaping our country. I'm Jacob Rees-Mogg, and Monday to Thursday we bring you the insights, the facts, the truth about how our country is being governed. Because what happens in Downing Street matters down your street. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent? I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs. That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Michael Portillo. This is GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Saturday night, and this is the Saturday Five. I'm Darren Grimes, along with Alex Armstrong, Dr. Renee Hoendekamp, Andy Williams, and Lizzie Cundy. Tonight on the show.
Outrageous pay, Sue Gray.
The human rights of UK citizens should trump those of foreign killers.
Lamentable Lammy's loony climate change alarmism.
Is Starmer our worst ever Prime Minister?
Reform's lack of serious thinking has been exposed.
It's 6 p.m, and this is the Saturday Five. A very warm welcome to the Saturday Five, my friends. Now, I've just legged it out of the Reform Party conference and straight into the GB News studio like a gazelle on caffeine. Maybe I had a pint or two in the spirit of the man himself, Nigel Farage, but don't worry, Dr. Renee's got me hooked on an IV drip to get me through both the hangover and Andy Williamson moan about the Reform Party that's got more momentum, in my view, than a runaway freight train. Now, speaking of runaway, earlier this week the papers were buzzing with a story about a school that affirmed a child's new identity as a wolf. Yeah, it's true. We're prioritising whackery and wokery over maths and English. But after that conference, my friends, I'd say Nigel Farage is quite the wolf himself. Teeth out, growling straight at the Conservative monopoly on the right. Now, I even called up Sir Keir Starmer to see if Lord Ali, his generous fashion benefactor, could cover my drinks bill from the Reform Party conference. No luck, sadly. We'll have no biting on this show, mind, but plenty of fur flying and growl-like snarls. You know the drill. Each host outlines their argument about a chosen topic, then we all pile in, and that's when the fur begins to fly. And of course, we want your views as well. Please do send them through and post your comments by visiting gbnews.com/your say. And don't forget to ask your questions in Ask the Five. No topics are off limits. But my friends, before we start tearing each other apart, it's his Saturday Night News with Tatiana Sanchez.
Darren, thank you. The top stories from the GB newsroom. The Prime Minister has arrived at the Labour Party conference today. Sir Keir Starmer said Labour's conference would show how Labour are fixing the foundations and rebuilding our country. Arriving at that conference centre in Liverpool earlier on, alongside his deputy Angela Rayner, the Prime Minister said it was Labour's biggest conference ever.
Just started. And today we're going to set out, and over the next coming days, how we're fixing the foundations and rebuilding our country. So enjoy conference. Very, very good to be here.
Meanwhile, today is day 2 of the Reform Conference in Birmingham, with party leader Nigel Farage giving his farewell address earlier this afternoon. Last night, Mr Farage told supporters he believes Reform can win the next general election, given the number of people that agree with their principles. He also explained what drove him to stand as Clacton's MP once the election was called earlier this year.
At almost every level,
we'd been betrayed. And then I thought about what was happening on our streets. And frankly, I thought to myself, Britain is broken. And then I couldn't help it. Well, if Britain is broken, then logically, Britain needs reform.
Meanwhile, Mr Farage has signed over ownership of the party, meaning he could feasibly be removed by a vote of no confidence going forward. Unlike most political parties, Reform UK was originally formed as a limited company, with Mr Farage holding most of the shares. But as of now, the Reform leader has relinquished the ownership and members will now be able to vote on party policy.